when you look at the moments that Brandon Graham has had, and we're also taking your reaction on why he was so loved in this city, which I think it's a combination of a whole bunch of things, from personality to play to work ethic to toughness to community work that he did there. But there's something
can't
more
do much
to
better
it.
than he's done.
No, honestly, if you built a career out, Brandon Graham as a Philadelphia Eagle may have had the best one, right? So far. We'll see what Lane Johnson, because his career's not done.
Well, you're talking about 2 Super Bowls.
Exactly.
Just there, Lane Johnson has a chance to eclipse him.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that Lane Johnson's still playing on a loaded team. But it's unbelievable.
There's only, 2 other players in Eagles franchise history that have 2 Super Bowls. It's Brandon Graham. It is Rick Lovato, who's no longer
who was scapegoated out of town.
And Jake
Elliott.
Elliott.
I'll still tell you.
I don't think he was scapegoated.
I'm telling you right now, there is no way he walked away from the payday that he's got at this point in his career. There's no way. And I'll gladly say I'm wrong, and I'll find out the answer. I'm telling you right now, there's no way he's walking away from that cush job, the amount of money.
Yeah, Jake Elliott making the post instantaneously.
Yeah,
he's got a little guilt there.
All right.
I'm telling you right now.
We're going to talk to Andrew DeCecco.
He got scapegoated. I'm telling you right now. There's no way he's walking away from that payday.
Yeah.
When he still he could easily do that job another 5 years.
We'll ask DeCecco what he's heard from inside the building on the long snapper position to see if there's anything more to that there. Because if someone will know, DeCecco will know.
I think Baltimore did the same thing.
Oh, did they?
I think the Ravens, one of our listeners sent me a note yesterday and goes, hey, look what the Ravens did.
Yeah.
Their kicker has a bad year, and they got rid of it.
It's a touchy subject up there.
I think they got rid of their long snapper, too.
We'll discuss with DeCecco, because I think it may be coincidence.
No, goats don't make that noise. What does a goat make? I don't know what goats make.
I don't know. I'm not great with the
What does a goat
noise.
make? Gun, you don't know?
I think
they baa, right?
Yeah, I think so.
No, I thought that was a sheep.
I think goats make that noise.
There you go.
We'll have to ask Brandon Graham, who
we'll find
is
out.
One of the goats of Philadelphia Eagles edge rushers. But this is going to be a tough exercise for a lot of people. And you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN and WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. What is your lasting memory of Brandon Graham? The moment that you're going to think of if we take away the moment that everybody's going to think of. The strip sack. So
they take that off the table.
Yes, because he had other great moments in his career. Now, none of them bigger than the strip sack in Super Bowl 52 of Tom Brady that led to the cementing of the first Lombardi in Philadelphia Eagles history. But this guy played 15 years.
Which is crazy.
And he's got moments upon moments upon moments. And my question to people out there, 610-632-0975, we'll open this up to listeners as well. What is the next moment you think about? The moment outside of the strip sack that will be your lasting memory of Brandon Graham? It could be personal. It could be on the field. It could be off the field.
And some people have the personal one.
We already heard from a guy, Kyle, on the text line who said he got a chance to meet him on the field and said it was an amazing experience for him. So I'm interested to see where people go with this. Johnny, do you have one? Because I know that first moment means so much to you.
Well, that's the one. I mean, that's the one that totally just changed everything as far as it's the one. I remember that. To me, I love the watching all the stuff. I watch NFL Network probably more than anyone should.
Yeah.
I enjoy the NFL Network. If something's not on, my wife will watch HGTV. I'll put on NFL Network and watch some of the old videos and things like that. I think my memory of him, the longest memory of him, is just going to be there is a NFL Network or an NFL Films where just the best of his trash talk.
Oh my God, that's such a great
and it's around 6-7 minutes of Brandon Graham clowning people, and he's literally telling people, "Oh man, you're not having the best day, brother. You're not having the best day." But you know what? I see him a quarter and a half still on the clock, still on that clock, and he's chirping. He's going, "Man, it's a long day. The couch is going to feel good tonight."
Yeah,
and he's just taunting but subtly. Nothing literally profane, nothing that you could sit a kid in front of this entire stretch and watch it.
Right.
And you'd laugh at some of it.
Dude, he's trash talk, I believe, multiple. I remember George Bush for sure, but I think multiple presidents in person to their face ahead of a football game. Like, just seeing them on the field. Because I remember, Bush had to have been down in Texas somewhere. I don't know if it was a Texans game, a Cowboys game, or whatever, and he was doing the coin toss. And Brandon Graham, of course, always a captain for the Birds and out there. And he's talking trash to him, saying we're going to whoop the Cowboys. Like, he talked to everybody and anybody. That is a great pick by you, John Kincade.
I like that. That's going to be my memory.
Yeah, B Gun. Another BG. This
No,
has got
he's
to be a
the
tough day
best
for you.
active BG in the community.
That's a fair point. Well, let's say actively working right now.
He's actually working.
BG, Brandon Graham, is still active in the community, I'm sure, even with his retirement. Brendan Gunn, what's your lasting memory outside of the strip sack?
I think it's just the smile on his face, and it takes me back to week 2 in about 2021, I want to say, against the 49ers. I was at that game. He ruptured his Achilles in that game. Everybody started chanting BG, BG on his way out, but he had like not a smile on his face that he was happy it happened. Obviously, he wasn't, but he was ready to take on what was going to come next in it. And he always did that. He embraced what was next with a smile on his face. And I think that's a story for people in life in general. Because sometimes people think like sports are just sports and they're silly. But when you see guys like that who go through everything he had to do coming out of the draft, being able to bust and just working his ass off with his head down, I think that's what makes him so loved. And those kind of moments stick out in my mind.
That was home opener 2021, Nick Sirianni's home opener, when he got that injury.
Yep.
And, you know, the first game at home that Sirianni's coaching, and he loses one of his veteran leaders.
Right. And
that was a tough loss that day. That was a tough loss.
He had the 55 on his visor for the rest of the year. And that's when we first started figuring out, hey, this guy's a little quirky. But
Quite a bit.
I mean, listen, that's a great, great moment that shows you the fan base's love for him. I think I'm going to go with a more recent one. And this may just be because it's fresh in my mind. But him absolutely decleating Matthew Stafford this season in the regular season.
In L.A.
When he got hurt in that game, too.
Yes, he did.
Do we know when he got hurt? Did it ever get said, like, when that actually happened?
It ever came out.
No, because it was so abrupt after the game. The reporters were, like, almost took it as a joke when he said he was done for the season. And he wasn't.
Well, it was a joke because he played in the Super Bowl.
See?
But the reason why that's one that I'm always going to think about is, of course, he was impactful in the Super Bowl in a way that you press the pocket and you allow other guys to get home because you're causing people to commit to blocking you. I don't want to say he had like a crazy great game in the Super Bowl, and you shouldn't have expected him to, but he was productive, right? But he didn't have a Super Bowl play this past time around where you're going to look at and be like, oh, wow, that was the Brandon Graham impact play. He was just more in the margins. That's the last big play of his career. And that's the one that when I think about the longevity that he had at his position, that we're going to be looking at and say, oh, wow, he really did it to the end where he was a monster start to finish.
He wasn't – the what I'll always respect, too, Brandon Graham wasn't hanging on for one more year. He wasn't hanging on for the idea to do to have a farewell tour.
No.
Just to be loved. He was doing it.
And guess what? None of these guys – it's crazy because we saw it with Jason Peters, and he's going to be brought up later in the show as a comparison to what's going on with Brandon Graham and how we feel about players emotionally when they hang it up. But Jason Peters was one of those guys that like hung around too long. Like I think a lot of Eagles fans feel that way.
I think he did, and but honestly, I never felt that way here.
No, but
you know what I mean.
I'm talking about Chicago and Dallas,
bouncing around Seattle.
Yes,
you know it almost hurt me to see him holding on. But obviously, some people have different monetary desires, and if someone's willing to give you the money and you still want to play, I guess you'll take it.
Jason Kelce went out playing at a high level. Fletcher Cox went out playing at a high level. Brandon Graham went out playing at a high level. I find it hard to believe Lane Johnson is not going to go out 40 years down the line, we hope.
That's why I say two.
But he's going to go out playing at a high level, I'd imagine. And to have four guys means so much to this franchise and have all of them continue to be productive into their late years of their career and all with the Philadelphia Eagles. How lucky were we? Like, how lucky is this generation of Philadelphia Eagles fans to have these guys and to be able to experience it this way? And Brandon Graham was an important part of that conversation. Jason Kelce was I'll talk to the media and I'll voice what the team is feeling, but he wasn't as boisterous as a player for a lot of his career about it.
I think that, honestly, I believe that Brandon Graham was more the spokesperson.
Absolutely.
I think Brandon Graham was very much like Reese Hoskins. Reese Hoskins wasn't the greatest player in the locker room, But Rhys Hoskins, I know from that Phillies clubhouse, he was the guy who the Jim Salisbury's and all them would go to.
Yeah.
The Jason Starks would go to. They want to know the status of the clubhouse. It was him.
Exactly. And you're going to hear something, a cut from Brandon Graham's retirement press conference yesterday, talking about later on in the show. You know that locker room is closed when I'm done, because he was always the last guy to talk. And as soon as he's done, he's like, okay, guys, time to go. Time for the team. Like, he just had that type of control over what was going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. And we should always love him for the way that he conducted himself in this city. Now, I'm
55 will always love you.
Yes, he will. We might need a new drop as far as that's concerned. I'm interested if anyone else has some picks on that conversation. If you take away the strip sack, what is your next lasting memory of Brandon Graham? Whether it's the personality, whether it's a personal thing for you, a time you met him, whether it's a play in a game. We had a bunch of different ones just between the three of us. So we'll look for the answers on that. 610-632-0975 on the phone line and on the text line. Coming up next, though, we're going to talk about the emotion of the day yesterday. And
thank you so much for checking out our content on the 97.5 The Fanatic YouTube channel. Hope you enjoyed the video. And remember, you can always be checking the playlist. There may be something you missed from one of our shows during the day that you want to go back and check out. So every time you like a video, like it, subscribe to the channel, and you'll have that great content coming to you every single day. You're greatly appreciated.